Okay, guys, that's a wrap. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. If you guys want to see more of our content that I've just edited, then like and subscribe. Okay, guys, I want to get back to this. This seems so easy.
What we'll
now.
talk about is that me and Luke have been persuaded to sign up for a half Ironman triathlon next year.
Yeah.
I've done one before, so I'm already traumatized by it. So I know what I'm getting myself into. Luke hasn't.
You still signed
So
up?
he's naively doing it. The thing is, doing a full Ironman's on the bucket list. So when you're like, approaching something like that, mentality-wise, what any tips for us? Because
we need them.
I'm sure we need them.
It's a big stress on the body. That it's something that I would not put myself through.
Is it even healthy?
I don't think so.
No, no, I agree.
You are putting your body through some
My
trauma.
knee says the same right now.
Yeah.
Because I've just started running and it's ridiculous.
Unfortunately, anything extreme is not healthy.
Yeah, and 40 years old, I'm
You're not
starting
spring
to feel
chickens,
how
yeah.
hard it is.
If you're talking, okay, I'll do, like I went to the gym today, I swam, I did, I don't know, 1 kilometer.
yeah,
That's okay. If you say, well, I'm going for a jog, I've done 5K, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll go out on a Sunday on my bike, I'll do 20K. That's okay. But when you're doing it repeatedly,
yeah,
then it's not only a lot of pressure on your body, but then there's a whole argument also on things like, if you want to get more scientific, like blood pressure.
yeah.
When you exercise, don't forget, for a long period of time, especially at a certain intensity, your blood pressure, what it does, it goes higher, right? So if that becomes chronically high because you exercise, like say 3 hours every day because you're running, cycling,
Or 'cause
whatever,
you're training for a triathlon.
then you can actually argue that you're going to cause
High blood pressure.
some scarring on the lining of the artery, on the endothelium. So we can.
Wow.
I always compare it to like a mileage on a car. So the more vigorous, hard training you do, don't get me wrong, you're able to do it and you're keeping your body in a certain level of fitness. But a van with 500,000 miles on it and a van with 200,000 miles on it, I know which one I'm buying, if you know what I'm saying. That's why I compare how extreme you push your body to.
It's all about sacrifice in a way that it's like anything that you do, there's going to be a price,
Yeah.
right? If you are going to accept that, say, well, I'll do an Ironman because I want to do it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But no, there's going to be hard on the body.
Yeah.
You might do one and that's okay.
There's
It's
always
like-
a compromise.
It's like, in the gym, people, not only in the gym, but just in general, people want to lose weight. And the first thing they want to do, they not exercise for years. I'm going to run a marathon.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, why?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Mm.
You think when you're talking to them, you'll lean over a bit. I'm just going to move it a bit more.
Yeah.
Like
Only to look though, eh?
Yeah. That's perfect. Let me have
But anyway, we can talk a little bit more about things like that at the end if you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, to be honest,
Otherwise-
I've just gone to the table, quit.
But
I've just gone to the
message,
Ironman.
I'm
Oh,
out.
I'm out.
There's no half Ironman.
No, but it's
absolutely
like anything. It's not
Yeah.
just that.
Yeah.
It's like,
You have to weigh up
Yeah.
the pros and cons of obviously the time, the mental health, the effect on your body,
I mean,
and the achievement. If you really want the achievement, then it's worth it.
Absolutely. But
Do we want the
Are
achievement?
we right now, Mikey?
Yeah, we just when we
We was rolling then.
Yeah,
as well.
we're rolling now.
started rolling.
Yeah.
I think that would look good. You look tentative. Like,
Yeah.
just-
I know you wore the purple today, but
Yeah,
I think you
he
want to be on
wanted to get in front of the camera because of his outfit. That's definitely what it was.
Listen,
He looked good.
That is Mikey, and he looks great today.
yeah, when you look that fly, you've got to get in front of the camera.
Yeah,
anyway.
listen, let's just pose for us, Mikey, because you are looking extra stush today. There we go, mate. There we
What
go.
is that jumper?
Goofy, Disney.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
All right,
so look,
yeah.
this is the Educated Idiots podcast. We're three self-proclaimed idiots, so we know nothing, and we like people to come here and educate us. So why don't you tell us a little about, or introduce yourself, who you are, a bit about you, and kind of like tell us where your interest in health and nutrition started and why you do what you do.
So my name is David, and I'm originally from Italy, and I've been in the UK now since 2004. So my interest in exercise and nutrition and all of that started back in 96, 97 when I was young enough back in Italy to join a gym, and I think
Sorry,
that
how old was you then?
I was probably 16.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
You
Just need to
know
get the
this.
specifics.
16,
I like the
15,
specifics.
16. And I think that's like with a lot of people, I've been doing this job now for over 20 years, right? So a lot of people that have chosen this in a career, they normally go into it for whatever reason. They might have had a disease, an illness, any condition, or it might be a body image thing, right? So I was always very skinny as a teenager. I had a couple of friends that had already been going to the gym. They were, a little bit older. And, teenagers, you're making fun,
Absolutely, yeah,
you're being
yeah.
skinny, whatever, having muscle. And as soon as I was old enough to join, like I said, I joined and I loved it. I was really skinny. And within 3-4 months of training, I was going like 6 days a week, not 7,
Yeah.
because in Italy, Sunday was shut.
Okay.
Sunday
Yeah,
was
it's good,
church day,
yeah.
right? And I just loved it. I loved it. Train. And I was trained since then. And then I was actually working as a lifeguard in Tenerife. And I was there for about 4 years or so. And
So you got fit, and then you was like lifeguard.
that's it. That's
Boom.
it.
What year was you in Tenerife out of interest?
I went in 99.
Yep.
And then I had to go back to Italy to do my military service. And then I went back in after that. So I did that for 9 months. And then I was.
So military service is something you have to do. That's
You had to do.
You have to go back.
not
even
anymore.
if you- no.
'Cause I lived in Tenerife from 2001 to 2004.
So we would have been there at the same time.
Same time. Huh?
Because I went straight from Tenerife to here.
Right, okay.
And so I was working as a lifeguard. And so I was living in Los Cristianos, but working in Las Americas as a lifeguard. And I always went to the gym, and I met these couple of English guys in the gym, and one of which had a brother came over from London, and he was working as a personal trainer. Remember back then, when you go
that was
back
popular.
late 90s,
Yeah.
mid 2000, it wasn't a job. It
Yeah.
wasn't really, such
More like
thing.
a hobby.
Or not Spain or Italy anyway. People
No.
had a gym, and there was the owner there,
And that's it. You
and
trained.
you went
trained
in.
yourself.
There was nobody working there.
One of my questions was, when you first got and started in the gym, did you have any guidance, or did you just do that yourself?
So what I did, right? My girlfriend, she was quite savvy already back then on technology, internet, because I had no clue.
Yeah.
And went into this internet cafe, and she looked to that, like this guy came from London, like I said, and he was
Do
working
you
as a
remember
personal
them?
trainer.
Internet cafe.
I was going to say, yeah, you'll have to, yeah.
Back
So,
now.
listen, I was really intrigued. I'm thinking, how can I do that? Because I want to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so we go into this internet cafe, and she goes on Google, and I've never seen it, of course. And she's like, oh, this doing this course in London. London was a lot, it was
Yeah.
very expensive. And we had a friend in
Still
Nottingham.
is.
In Nottingham, it still is.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up doing a course. I went from Tenerife to Nottingham to do the course, not to stay,
Yeah.
right? And then one
Who
thing, the other,
in the right mind would want to stay in Nottingham?
well, I did a course.
From Italy, you fell in love with the streets of Nottingham.
Well, that's it, I guess. I think I just wanted to do the job.
Yeah.
And once I was qualified, I got a job right away.
Yeah.
And then, one thing, the
Yeah,
other.
your love of your
and
job got you
that's
to
right.
where you needed to
That's
be.
right.
Yeah.
So 20 years later, still doing
You
it.
still do. That's
And then what happened was I always been very interested in also nutrition. Love food, being Italian, love food, love to eat, love to cook. And I was fascinated how it affects not only so much for performance, which was my initial interest, but then I looked like how that can really shape your epigenetics.
What's
we can talk about it.
epigenetics?
Epigenetics is above the genes.
Epigenetics.
Epigenetics. So, for
Okay.
example, you can say to me, well, my dad has diabetes, my mom has diabetes. So you have the genetics to be predisposed to diabetes.
Right. Okay.
But if you can change that by
Right, that
adopting a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
Okay?
of people don't understand that. I don't know if this saying is true, but 80% diet, 20% training. That's where they've kind of put that out there. What is the fake sort of elements?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think that's, if you look at studies in general, I don't want to say any study just like top of my head like that in terms of statistics, but if you look at, for example, let's say you have like 3 groups,
Yeah.
right? One doesn't change anything, right? One of them, they change their diet, they go into like a calorie deficit, for instance, and the other one, they do the calorie deficit and the exercise. The third group is probably gonna do best overall, but the second group, all things considering, the ones that are gonna have the biggest change in body in weight loss. All right.
From diet,
So let's say,
yeah.
for argument's sake, that the group one that does not change. Okay, let's say they don't lose any weight, right? Group one, let's say over 4 weeks they lose, let's say 4 kilos, right? 8 pounds, 10 pounds,
Yeah.
whatever. And the other group, the one that also exercises, might only lose 5 kilos. So there is a difference, but there is a slight difference.
We
Right?
talk about losing weight, David, though. What about the health aspect in addition to losing weight?
Massive. So as part of my job, so like the original qualification I did was as like a personal trainer qualification and etc. But then in 2015, I did a degree in nutrition. So that was a 6-year degree. And so with that, I looked a lot more, not only the weight loss, but, all the different aspects of how exercise, can, how diet can impact your
Health.
digestion, health, all of these things, thyroid function, etc. No? But when you look at as part of my job, we run health assessments. So do like lipid panels, so do all different types of cholesterol, HbA1c, which is the average sugar levels over 120 days. So it's a risk of diabetes, blood pressure, body fat measurements. All of
What,
that.
you do all these on your clients? These
Yeah,
tests?
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And when you look at weight loss, so if you have somebody that is overweight, let's say they have so anything over 25 on the BMI scale will be classified as overweight, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you have somebody on 28, so it's borderline from being overweight
Body mass index.
to
yeah.
obese,
Yeah.
for example, right? Now that person, you get them to lose, I don't know, like 10 kilos, for example. Chances are they come back after 3 months, and you get the blood pressure and it's gone down, and you look at the blood sugar levels has gone down, the lipids, so cholesterol, all of those. So if you can lose weight, if overweight, it makes a massive difference in all of
Your
those
health.
parameters.
Yeah.
Big time.
So yeah, correlative to
Big
all of
time.
those
So-
elements. Yeah.
There's a lot already.
Yeah.
Like we can go the
Absolutely.
conversation all over
Yeah,
the place. And what
yeah.
that brings to my mind is what I found is over the years is there's so much information out there
Yeah.
in regards to nutrition, exercise. There is also conflicting information and people that disagree. What, as a novice, as an idiot, when it comes to health and nutrition, where do you start with this stuff?
I mean, that's the $1 million question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're asking a lot there. You was like,
trust?
can you help me?
No, where do you start?
Yeah.
What's the starting
Process.
point?
I mean, to be honest with you, if I were to think about that logically, there's different avenues that I would explore. But I'm gonna get to your
Yeah.
question properly, right? So first of all, a lot of studies are very poorly conducted. So when I was doing my research for my degree, we can look at let's say low carbohydrate diet for weight loss, right? And I can show you studies that's gonna show that. And I can show you the same conflicting evidence on showing actually that's not gonna be so
'cause-
that the low fat is gonna be better.
Yeah.
So a lot of research can be skewed.
Yeah.
So
So,
first of all,
they can be altered as well to where, so like 90% of
Absolutely,
research is made
absolutely.
up. That's what I see.
you know,
research.
'cause-
So what do we
Sorry,
do then? Where do
Just stop for one moment there.
Yeah.
There's a golden nugget there.
yeah.
90% of research is made up.
Yeah.
Generally, yeah. Brilliant.
It's fake.
Okay.
Maybe not that much, but
Watch out, everybody.
Only believe the 10%, and that's fake. Everything's fake.
But
Sorry, go on.
no, but let's give people practical applications, right? So what I would do is find something that might work for you, and it's going to be sustainable for you. Because a lot of people, they try to jump on very extreme diets or
I was going to say,
whatever.
they'll advertise a sort of meal replacement that does this, and
So,
this. That's,
Anyway, if one thing is too good to be true, it probably is, right?
yeah,
but
fair enough.
anyway, so let's if we try to be real, right?
Yeah.
So find something that you can see yourself doing it for at least 6 months or more, right?
Yeah.
Because if something is too extreme, chances are
Yeah.
you're not
it's not maintainable.
you're not going to be able to sustain.
yeah,
it, right?
people set too high targets.
And the other thing is try to stick with that thing, and also don't try to because people will say, okay, I'm going to try ketogenic diet, right? Which is a very
ketogenic.
ketogenic.
Oh, keto.
which is a very high fat diet,
Yeah.
very low in carbohydrates with
Yeah.
moderate protein, right?
Yeah.
And that can be shown. You can look at if you Google that on the internet and put ketogenic diet and weight loss, guarantee you there'll be thousands of articles you can read
Mm.
on showing how that can
Positive.
be
Are.
very effective, right?
Extremely difficult, though, to get you into a state of ketosis.
But we can talk about that in a sec, right? However, in contrast, you could then so you might read that on the internet, whatever, no? And then
Yeah.
you go to the gym and say, okay, I'm gonna start doing that ketogenic diet. And somebody says, oh no, you don't want to be doing that. You want to be doing intermittent fasting, right? And then you talk to somebody else, no, you gotta be calorie count. And people don't give things a chance.
Yeah.
So do something. If you feel that you can do it for at least 3 months.
Commit to it. Yeah.
And then see how you go with that.
Mm.
Right?
That's the only way you're going to get
To see
the
the
right
results.
results, isn't it?
Absolutely.
If you stick to it.
Ketogenic diets, I've done it once properly because I wanted to try it. And I did some blood work after it, in fact. It is difficult to do. And you get a lot of fats. So a lot in the way of bacon, butter.
Zero
chi-
carbohydrates.
and very, very few. I think when I did it, I was probably like 5%. Of
You have
that
to eat
was
a lot of
car-
bacon.
Well,
Because that seems-
A lot of meat. A lot
Oh, yeah.
of meat.
Are you,
Really?
are you interested?
Yeah, no, that would make a lot of people
Look at
interested.
his eyes.
wouldn't
He's
it?
actually like, what?
Because I don't necessarily eat bacon, but bacon's one of those foods that people would not associate with a diet. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't.
It's
know that
high
was part
fat,
of it.
high
It's
meat
a high
diet,
fat,
isn't it? High
and
protein.
also for a
Because that
while
would
it
have
was.
some health problems.
Well, I mean, you could argue that. it's difficult to say.
Yeah,
I mean, one of the things, in fact, I mean, when I did it, so I was eating a lot of fat, like I say. I was eating like a handful of berries. So no pasta, like being Italian. So no pasta, no bread,
Oh,
nothing like that.
sacrilege.
Wow.
And a bit of protein. And the fact with the protein was as well that you cannot eat too much protein either, because protein would then also convert into glycogen. So it can kick you out of ketosis, because you want to stay in that fat state where your body's producing ketone bodies.
Ketosis, isn't it linked with fasting? Don't your body go into
As well.
ketosis when you've starved yourself
that's
for
right,
food?
that's
Is that
right,
right?
that's
Yeah.
right.
So you can't have a bacon sandwich and run around the park. No, it sounds super complicated.
But yeah, but but these things can be.
Yeah,
can be.
it sounds very complicated.
That's right.
And I think that what people want is simplicity
That's
in a
right.
sense, so they know what they're doing because of all the conflicting information. If we, you mentioned fat.
Yeah.
So ketogenic diet is high fat.
Yeah.
I think traditionally people have always associated fat with being bad for you.
Yeah.
What's the truth in regards to a high fat diet? What
It
fats are bad?
It depends on the
what's good?
fats, right? First of
Right.
all, so like going back to that example, when I did actually that ketogenic diet, I did it for a couple of months or so. I did all my cholesterol readings after, and everything was perfectly fine. Even triglycerides, all of those.
Even
was
with
really,
all
really
the bad
good.
fats.
Absolutely,
How did you feel?
I was
Doing it?
absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I didn't go to toilet much.
No, okay.
Because, you're not eating fiber.
Okay, yeah.
So ultimately, you're not gonna go a lot to the toilet, and that's probably one of the problems that people associate with the ketogenic diet is
Constipation.
constipation, things like that. But truth is, it doesn't have a lot to excrete because when you just eat a lot of meat,
Well, you're lowering the intake, aren't you? So you're not going to go to the toilet. as
that's
much,
right.
yeah.
But anyway, with the fats, if you, for example, also, looking at cholesterol, there's also quite a bit of evidence that is too many carbohydrates, they will also raise your cholesterol, especially in the form of like triglycerides, because that's the way the body will store fats, right? So if you eat a lot of fruits in a way of smoothies, you're taking in a whole lot of like berries, bananas, apples, all of these kiwis in the smoothies, and everything needs to be processed in the liver, which will then convert into triglycerides. So you might think
Convert
you're doing
into what, sorry?
triglycerides.
Triggers.
Yeah.
What's that?
Is a form of cholesterol, basically.
Right,
Yep.
okay.
Which people think they might be doing the right thing. Then again, people get misled.
Yeah.
When you hear the advice saying a lot of fruit and vegetables, in my opinion, it should be a lot of vegetables and a little bit of fruits.
Okay.
So especially if you're looking to lose weight, like a lot of people are. In the UK, 1 in 4 of the adults
People wanna lose
population
weight, yeah.
are suffering from metabolic syndrome, which is high hypertension, high triglycerides, high cholesterol, high blood sugar levels. But anyway, going back to what we were saying, so if you're having olive oil, avocados, nuts and seeds, all of those fats.
They're healthy
They
fats.
can
Is that olive
yeah.
oil though? Its raw form.
So olive oil, you don't want to be heating it. I believe if
Oh.
anything over 90 degrees, then you start to oxidize it. So you can heat it like shallow fry it, but you don't want to be
But that's it.
overcooking
Yeah,
it.
If it
Okay.
starts spitting and it's
That's right.
That's-
Then you oxidize, so you turn
not
something
good for
good
you.
into something bad,
Oh,
essentially.
I did not know that. Yeah.
Oh,
So like
interesting.
butter, coconut oil is probably even better for that for cooking. It just depends a bit what you do. If you're doing spaghetti bolognese, for example, coconut is not going to be great.
No, yeah.
So you have to just make sure you don't overheat it.
So are you saying coconut and butter are better for cooking with at high temperatures, but if
yeah.
you're sticking to a low temperature, stick with olive oil?
But those then are associated with higher saturated fats.
Right.
So like high increase of cholesterol.
Yeah.
Whether olive oil, avocados, like nuts and seeds aren't. So
Right.
like almonds, for example, sunflower seeds, things
Yeah.
like that.
What
That's
about
beneficial.
meat fats?
Well, the saturated fats. So there's a link with with higher cholesterol. But then again, it depends in the context of the diet. So if you're doing like a steak, it's like grass fed, for example, like free range, so it's not going to have a lot of
So the
omega
quality.
6 because there's also the quality, right? So if you have something like grass fed,
Yeah.
you could argue there's a lot of evidence suggesting that the fats in a meat are going to be more of omega 3s.
Okay.
Yeah.
If
'Cause-
something is like grain fed, there's going to be a lot more omega 6, omega 9, which are linked not only with higher,
Cholesterol.
cholesterol, but also like inflammation.
Wow.
Right.
And inflammation it can also say that is a cause of like many diseases as well.
Mm.
The reason why I ask about meat fats is because I was watching this interview with Bear Grylls
Yeah.
a few weeks ago, and we all know Bear Grylls is about SS Commando guy and
Yeah.
survivalist and all this. And they said, "Oh, what sort of diet do you eat at home?" And he goes, "I just eat a carnivore diet now, so I only eat steak and eggs."
He used to be
and-
vegan, didn't he, Bear Grylls?
He used to be vegan. He wrote a book on veganism, and now his U-turn and said it was the worst thing he ever did. He was the most unhealthiest he's ever been. Now what he's saying is he only eats meat and eggs.
You see,
And-
that's just an example of something going from one extreme to the other.
yeah.
Carnivore diet in England, I'm gonna be honest, I've not really heard a lot of people doing it. I know in America people
It's a
been
big thing in
doing that
America
for,
now,
already
yeah.
for a while. And I think that without making things too complex, if you are suffering from autoimmune disease,
Yeah.
so something that's gonna basically that the body's attacking itself, like rheumatoid arthritis,
Jordan Peterson suffers from that, and that's why he's on the, and his daughter, and that's why they're on the carnivore.
yeah, so if you're doing that, you are removing a lot of inflammatory foods, because then this is when nutrition becomes very, very complicated. So I can say to you, well, like in Italy, for example, we eat a lot of, like, especially in the summer, a lot of courgettes, aubergines, those type of foods, right? You have like Parmigiana. I don't know if you ever had Parmigiana, like eggplant with Parmesan and
Beautiful.
mozzarella cheese in the oven. It's amazing. Tomato sauce. And all. Anyway, but if you're suffering from, for example, some form of autoimmune disease, eating those nightshade vegetables, like even like tomatoes, peppers,
Could aggravate it.
could aggravate it. And you
Yeah.
think, what do you mean? It's vegetables.
Mm.
Well, it depends.
So it seems
right?
very specific.
It's very
for the
specific. And that
specific
is-
person, isn't it?
I've trained in nutritional therapies. So for me, you treat every
You can tailor it.
individual. It's not
Yeah.
a one diet fits all. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why when Joe is saying these things, I always, who are you talking about?
Yeah.
What,
Yeah,
people
correct.
often
So-
ask me, what is good for me, or what, is this good for me, or
You need to see
You
the
know,
person and how that
depends,
affects
right?
the person. Yeah.
So going back to veganism for a second, and I've got no problem. Listen, anybody that wants to improve their health, when they're doing it, veganism, carnivore, whatever.
You're
I
not a
don't- I
vegan
don't care.
hater.
No,
It's
I don't.
a
No,
vegan
listen,
haters.
I mean, it's
There's a vegan haters.
well, there's gotta be.
Oh, there's definitely vegan haters. Yeah.
Wow.
But,
But-
but David's not one of them.
No. Like I said,
Each to their own.
I just want people to be healthy.
Yeah.
And that's what I do.
I think
Right?
it's the other way around. I think it's vegans that hate other people that aren't vegans.
Well, anyway, I think we could.
We digress about
But-
vegan haters.
but
If
anyway.
it's any about, give us a shout.
For example, right? I've seen, a lot of people going vegan and then not doing very well.
Yeah.
And then I've got a really good friend of mine, and he's doing it, and he's absolutely fine with it, and he's probably argue he thrives with it. Okay, but when you're looking at that, there are some people, for example, that can convert. So let's say vitamin A, right? You might eat certain foods, and because you're good at converting them, you're gonna be able to be efficiently, having those nutrients and convert them to something useful.
Yeah.
But not everybody is gonna be that way. So initially, somebody going from, let's say, a standard like Western diet where they eat a lot of processed foods to a vegan diet where they're eating more, let's say, clean foods, quote unquote, they might feel better. But the reason is because we're removing a lot of crap.
Yeah.
But to my point is like the omega-3 fatty acids. There'll be people that have a better conversion. So they say, well, how do you have omega-3s if you're not eating fish? Well, I have flaxseed, this and that. And you're looking at the conversion rate, for some people might only be 2%. But for other people, it might be 10 or 20%. So that's why some people can actually do okay on that diet, whereas some people, it's going to destroy them completely.
Is it trial and error then? Basically, what you're saying is, as somebody who wants to get fit or somebody who wants to look after their well-being, you've first got to understand what your body type is, what you are good with, what you are bad with before you even start.
Yeah,
any
absolutely.
diet.
And the other thing with that is, the problem is with that, two things. One problem that I would have with that diet, I'm going to be honest with you, is, well, two things. First of all, if you have to have a diet, and in order to be thriving on it, you got to take supplements, because even a friend of mine ultimately takes supplements,
Yeah.
then is that diet adequate if you need to supplement in order to meet all your requirements? Omega-3s, iron, is another big
When
one.
you could get that out of food, the right food.
Vitamin B, those are the three main ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing as well, when I first started to do this job years ago, and vegan movement wasn't, so high back then, but they were vegetarians. And people would come to the gym and say, talk about that and say, oh, I eat very healthy, I'm vegetarian. And I'm thinking in my mind, okay, so they eat a lot of salads, a lot of vegetables. And no, remember that crisps, all of that
Chips.
stuff.
Yeah, he's still vegetarian. Yeah,
You're like,
In-
you can
in-
be
in-
vegan,
yeah.
crisp and beer,
can still
and
eat,
you're vegan. But are you going to be thriving with that?
Yeah.
And the thing is, they're having all of this, vegan sausage, vegan ham. And I think,
It's all
what do you mean
processed.
vegan sausage?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like.
it's processed, yeah.
But anyway, so and there's a massive market on that.
Vegan
Yeah,
chicken.
I know. I never
Chicken.
understand. The
So-
vegan sausage.
So if you want to be
phenomenon.
vegan, that's fine.
Yeah.
But eat freaking vegetables and fruits and whatever. But the problem I tell you with that though is this, right? Then let's say, okay, I'll do that and I'll have a vegan burger. I'll make it with beans and lentils and all that. Okay, that's cool. And all of that food is great, full of fiber. But guess what? A lot of people are gonna struggle with that because they can't freaking digest it.
Yeah.
And then what they have, they feel bloated. So then again, if you can digest it, great. But for a lot of people, and also end up eating a hell of a lot of carbohydrates as well, because all those foods are high in carbs anyway. So.
So going back to the question about where do I start, what I took from that then is actually what we need to do is acknowledge that we're all different,
Absolutely.
and we need to find out what's right for us. And you mentioned like body types. Is there even such a thing as a body type, or is everyone different in their own unique way?
Well, there is like the typical ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph.
What
so,
are they?
So like,
Do
Start
the
from the
first
beginning
one.
one.
Yeah. What was the first one? Ectomorph?
I might be getting a little bit confused, but an ectomorph, it would be somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger, perfect.
Okay.
Like
So
white,
big build, like
a
Luke.
bit like Luke, yeah. Pre-steroids.
Me
So
or Arnie.
wide shoulders, narrow waist. Easy to to go to the gym.
Yeah. So the bodybuilder type.
and gain weight. Muscle. Quite easily. A mesomorph will sit in between, more like a strongman.
Right.
They'll gain muscle, but also predisposed to gain weights.
Yeah.
Quite a little bit on the waist. Then you have the endomorph, the typical hard gainer.
That's me.
Yeah.
The what? Sorry. The typical.
Hard gainer, somebody that's going to really, really find it hard to to
gain
put weight
muscle.
on, to gain
Oh,
muscle.
okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're the three specific types.
Yeah, but some people will sit a bit in between. There'll be a bit of a mix. Yeah.
I think one of the problems that people face is that today health and well-being is being commercialized massively. If you go online, everyone's selling knowledge and products around health and well-being, whether it's
Big business.
supplements, personal training, diet plans, all sorts of things going on. Is this actually making the situation worse? Because what these people are selling is, this is how you all get healthy. When actually, that's not the case, then, is it?
No. Well, it's for me, it's discipline. Discipline. Yeah, like I say, maybe going back to what Luke was saying earlier, actually, that 80-20, for a lot of people, that can actually work.
What
But
was that?
Not 80-20 in terms of like, 80, you said that 80% was diet and 20%.
80,
But
20.
80-20 in a way of, that was Pareto's rule, right? The Italian economist that
Right.
they found out that 80% of his revenue came from 20% of his clients, basically, right?
Oh, okay.
So 80% of the time, you want to be eating a certain way, exercising, managing stress, sleep, all these things which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
And then 20%, a little bit of leeway. Because ultimately, you cannot, I don't think
You want to go 100%.
it's healthy to always be very regimental. Because, you'll see people and they're always on it all the time. And I don't think that's particularly healthy. So if sometimes you want to go out with some friends, have a beer, have a burger, whatever, have a pizza. And then, the day after, get back on it. And
If you're doing
Because that
80,
can be good for your
Absolutely.
mental well-being as well.
Absolutely.
Just striking the balance of, look after yourself, do the right things, but also enjoy yourself.
You've got
every
to
now and then
enjoy
as
it.
well.
as long as you're not one of those people that has a slice of cake and then, they go to a gym and,
That, well, the problem is with it, it's sort of the English culture of telling someone like that. You're an Italian, you go, hey, just go out for a little while. An Englishman will go, okay, and then go out for 5 days solid. And that's not the 80-20 you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's more than 20%.
That's a cultural thing, isn't it?
Yes,
in
it is,
England.
yeah.
So I read a book about longevity, and there was a study in there where these people studied a community. There's one in Japan. I can't tell you the names of places. I can't remember.
in
off the top of my head.
Okinawa.
Okinawa, and then there's one in Italy.
Yeah,
where
Sardinia.
Sardinia. Where they live longer than anybody else.
There's
Now,
one in California, Mona Linda.
oh, is there?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So these studies take place where people live the longest. If you can think about Italian traditional
Like
diets,
centenarians, they have the highest rate of centenarians.
What's
Yeah.
a centenarian?
Somebody lives
Over 100.
100 years old.
So that is
of
it a
course.
century.
Right, yes.
Going to the Italian diet, then let's take it. As soon as you're Italian, let's take that one as an
Yeah.
example. Longevity in Italy seems to be much better than in Britain, but they eat a high carbohydrate diet, do they not?
Yeah. I think that when you're looking at that longevity piece, you're looking at community.
Yes.
So, having family and friends,
Climate.
That's a big thing, isn't it, I think?
big
with that.
thing. Spend time outdoors, again, sunshine. In Italy, what I would say is, and then again, Italy's changed a lot. I often, hear like American podcasts and they're always referring to like the Mediterranean as being, everything's so good. And even there, things have changed. So if you go to Milan, it's going to be a lot more like London. But if you go to Sardinia, then obviously
It's the older ways.
So, and I hate when I say obvious because nothing is obvious.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's going to be a lot different because it's a lot more remote. It's, people live a lot more like they would have,
Joe got married in Italy.
Yeah.
And I drove in Italy.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you now about blood pressure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
We
they-
drove from
they-
Naples to Sorrento. And it was an
Actually, he looks
experience.
Italian a little bit.
I know, yeah. My daughter will like that because I get asked a lot about that. But thank you for that. Appreciate it.
But yeah, so that and eating seasonal food, like I say. So you go, for example, in England to a supermarket, and all year round you find the same food, and people tend to eat the same 8 foods all year round, pretty much, right? I think it's about 8. Whereas in Italy, it tends to be, like I say, seasonal. In the winter, you have more like I don't know, artichokes, and like you might have things like broccoli.
I noticed that. What do obviously you coming from both cultures. Why do you think that we struggle with that? Because I go to Italy and I go to these places. I think it's amazing array of food, and the food tastes better. Why do we struggle?
Why have we got terrible food in the
Why? Yeah.
Weather and
So,
culture. That's what I'm saying.
I think that you can get good food if you look hard enough for it.
yeah.
If you can order like free range food and things like that, and
Yeah.
and it can be really, really good. Actually, it can be really tasty. And like the meat in this country can be good, but you have to pay for it, right? If you go to like
pricey.
Aston supermarket,
Yeah.
the thing is, with the problem in England for me, if I'm gonna be completely honest, it
Yeah,
starts
100%.
from an early age. When I was studying, I did a piece where I was looking at school dinners. Right, I actually went into like a primary school. I looked at the menu and I looked at what they were doing in terms of like where they source the food and how they're preparing, etc. Right.
Yeah.
And I just came back from Finland, and in Finland, people tend to be a lot healthier, right? And you look at children in Finland, you go to like school dinners, you look at children menus in a restaurant, and they eat proper food, right?
Yeah.
They eat fillets of salmon, and they
In other
have-
schools, you're talking about is proper food, yeah?
yeah,
Mm.
they'll have like broccoli, they'll have mash, they'll have salad, whatever. No, whereas here, the problem is people are very fussy. They're very fussy eaters, and that starts from a really young age already. So unfortunately, because the palate it's
Well,
sometimes
we're eating turkey Twizzlers at 6,
Well-
and you're eating aubergines.
I mean, so if you start from a young age, you're eating a lot of processed foods at home, and all you get in school is chicken nuggets with chips, and it's difficult for the schools because the problem is, right, if they would, let's say that you present a child with a fried fish and chips, okay, they'll eat it. If you present the same food, but this time let's say that the cod is being steamed,
Yeah.
and instead of potato chips, there's
Roast potatoes.
a mash
New
and maybe
potatoes.
like some beans, whatever. Chances are a lot of that is going to go to waste. And the schools, they can't afford to do that, right? And it's quite interesting because the school I visited, they're working with the government to try to meet all the requirements. Because let's not forget, unfortunately, a lot of children, the only decent meal that they're going to get
Is
that
that
day
yeah,
is going to be a school.
yeah, a lot of them.
And it's really sad, right? And so what that school actually was doing, for example, one thing I'll never forget is to try to get the omega-3s in the kids' diet.
Yeah.
They used to get anchovy paste and put it into the bolognese,
Oh, okay.
right? So that's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Would you recommend that?
you can try. You can try.
He's offended.
But-
He was like,
So, but for me, it starts very early on, and I see people here being very fussy with
habits are
things.
formed early on, and within
That's
our
right.
culture, we don't pass it down. I don't think through the families, the cooking.
And
I think
As a
some people
Western
do.
society,
I think-
we've evolved the wrong way. We
Yeah.
should be evolving.
I think it
towards-
is turning. I see a lot more people caring about what they eat and where they eat. I think it's
Yeah,
coming
no, there is
alive
that.
a little
I think
bit.
it's too extreme. It's a bit more like America now. You got people who are very into fitness and they're very careful what they eat, and then you got a lot of that just eat processed food.
yeah.
And
Jamie Oliver did a massive campaign, didn't he, for school dinners? Can you
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That didn't go down well, did it? Is that just because everyone disagreed with him because we are?
I think he's just a bit of a prick.
Yeah, but he was.
I don't think Jamie Oliver is. I think he's a character that some people don't like.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah,
like,
he's
you
not
know,
like-
I think he had the right message, but the wrong person.
Yeah, he was promoting healthy food.
where he said some really controversial things.
Oh, did he like what?
Families should eat organic chicken. If they can't afford it, stop buying fags. Stuff like that.
Ah,
like,
okay.
And
He didn't win any. He
Got a
didn't-
lot of bad press.
So he's probably right the way he's saying.
got a
I mean,
point.
he's just not saying the right way.
Yes.
Yeah, communication
Let's not go down the that
Absolutely,
route. I've got
Yeah,
issue-
sorry, we'll have
I
that
don't-
again.
Yeah, we'll have that
we'll
another time.
No,
But
no,
remember-
we was ready to go there, but yeah.
But obviously, schooling is a contentious issue in this country because we could go on about
And
that. as well.
just one more thing, people don't know how to cook. Let's put it that way. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Jamie.
So-
Education in food. food and the way to
Prepare
I
food
mean,
at
to be
home.
fair, in
Yeah.
school we used to do like a sort of kitchen, a sort of cooking sort of class, and you'd just make a apple crumble, and you'd just go with the ingredients, come home,
Pizza.
and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was our only experience. And I remember liking to cook when I was younger, and I got the bug from sort of just going into the freezer and just seeing a waffle and a
Turkey Twizzler.
turkey Twizzler. And then you start to think, wow, there's got to be more than this. But we have to find that rather than being given the tools
I
to do
think,
it.
yeah, and I think also what plays in a part for me, in my experience, is youth. Because when you're young in your 20s, you can eat and drink what you want, and you generally wake up in the morning feeling all right. You can go all over again. I mean, my diet for the majority of my life was terrible. Up until I met my wife, who's really disciplined with food, my diet was horrendous for most of my life. I've turned 40 recently, and a lot of things have changed for me turning 40. Not in a negative way, like in a positive way, but I'm starting to really think about my own mortality a lot more.
Mhm.
Things like spending time with my family, my kids, that's really important, more important to me now. And one of the things is food. And what I found is now I can't eat a load of crap and then feel good the next day. I literally get food hangovers. So it's almost like what we do is we have bad habits, the majority of people, not people like you who has like been interested in this for a long time.
And Luke.
But then when and Luke, yeah, let's not forget Luke. But it's almost like when we start to feel the negative impact, we don't do anything until something we actually feel a consequence for it. And then all of a sudden we're at a point where we're not cooking very well. But we've got
We've already
really
created our
the
habits by the
habit
time our
loops.
body doesn't.
And
yeah.
then all of a sudden people are fighting, and then they're like, "What do we do?" And it's like, "I'm going to try this diet. I'm going to go to the gym."
You wouldn't believe how hard it is to change people's mindset. And
You
that's
can find that with your clients.
one is how the things, with nutrition is that I've seen, for example, like one guy, came to the gym on a nutrition program that we ran, and he was literally referred by the hospital, say, last opportunity to lose weight or your leg is being amputated because
Wow.
of, diabetes, right? Okay. This guy could not change his ways. He kept
Even with
having
that
Chinese
news,
takeaways, and people sometimes are not ready to give up, the lifestyle,
yeah.
and they rather carry on and struggle. Because listen, man, you gotta take your leg away. That's listen,
Yeah.
that's a big
thing,
deal.
yeah.
I'm not taking out, a
Yeah,
fingernail,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, and you can say that with a lot of things. People that have got really high blood pressure, high cholesterol, really, risk of heart disease. They got family history of, heart disease and things like that, and they really, really find it hard to eat well. At least, I mean,
Is that
it's-
stupid or stupidity?
I probably say, well,
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, it's very difficult.
I think with habits, and I think you can go into the world of where they advertise food at a young age at McDonald's, and you go in and it's colourful.
Do-
They're getting into your habitable eating.
Do you know what? Then again, I said I don't know. I do know. I do have an idea. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know everything, but what I do think, because I don't want to make these things, because there's so many avenues, right?
Yeah.
But for example, it's difficult to say to somebody, well, I mean, why did you not say to that person, okay, just don't do it, right? Because that is just crazy, right?
Yeah.
There's many reasons why people, for example, can be addicted to food. And don't forget, there's always a reason. There's always another reason. So, for example, if you're
An
addicted
underlying
to
reason,
food,
yeah.
to drugs, to alcohol, whatever, it's not the food, it's not the beer, there's something else, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, there's such thing, for example, as the gut microbiome. I part of my when I did my final research for nutrition, my nutrition degree was I studied the gut microbiome and the effect on the metabolism. Right? But one thing that you find is, for example, and that's the gut microbiota. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And one thing that you find, for example, if you're somebody that eats a constantly high processed food, high in sugar, those microbes in your gut are gonna be craving those sugars. So it's gonna make it a lot harder for you to just give up like that, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing as well, some people might not produce enough serotonin. Serotonin gets produced mostly in the gut and then travels to the brain, right? So for somebody, if you're not producing enough serotonin and you're constantly feeling down, you might even feel down because you're eating a lot of crap all the time. Okay,
Like you're stuck
don't
in a
get me wrong.
circle, innit? Yeah.
And then you need to have, for example, that food because you're gonna feel good temporarily.
Yeah.
So it is hard for people to give up. I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
easy,
You have to go through
but
a time.
when you've been told your leg is coming
I
off,
think that'd scare you enough to do
absolutely,
it. Yeah.
absolutely.
Can I just ask, gut microbiome, it's really important for digestion and your health. What foods would you recommend to promote that, your gut microbiome?
then again, we can you could talk a lot about that.
But
But
then I suppose is that
Ju-
specific for every
yeah,
individual person?
so first of all, you just remove anything that might be aggravating it. So refined sugars is one of them, for example.
I
right?
got rid of refined sugars and then found out eggs, and I was finding that through the digestion, I was feeling down like after meals, and I had to really cut it down to where
You
I
had
needed
some
to
real
get.
problems with that, though. I remember
Massive
you.
problem. Yeah, and I felt depressed. Like I felt days of just
You was
sort
always
of-
bloated as well.
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. But then I started to cut out certain elements and eat at certain times and stop eating before going to bed. And,
Yeah.
and
That's
Well-
why. That's why he's in prime shape now. Peak
That's it.
condition.
looking at him in the gym, just going, wow.
But yeah, so eating a variety of foods, prebiotic
Yeah.
fibers.
Actimals, what about them? Are they good for
That's
you? or is that a
that's
myth?
like a probiotic. So probiotic basically is something like Actimel, is something like a probiotic drink, like a natural yogurt, kefir, for
Is that a
example.
good thing
you know.
then? Would you?
Yeah, so probiotics will increase the number of good bacteria
Right.
in your gut. It can be a lot more complicated now, but we're gonna keep it really simple,
keep it
right?
simple,
Okay.
because we're idiots.
I think you could come back and talk a lot more about these subjects. As well,
Whereas
I think.
prebiotics, which you have in things like sauerkraut, I love kimchi, which is like the Korean,
I've
like
seen that. Yeah.
cabbage, and it's all like
Yeah,
fermented
like pak
foods.
choy and stuff.
Yeah, things like that. Beans, lentils, also like herbs and spices. All those foods contain prebiotics.
Yeah.
Right? Artichokes, for example, and prebiotics actually feed the good microbes. So you take probiotic as a way as a drink, and that will increase it.
Yeah.
And then the prebiotic will feed it, basically.
Right. So do both.
That helps
But
you.
just to answer your question real
Yeah.
quick, eating late at night, that's a mistake a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And that can then cause, especially as you get older, when you're younger, you might be okay. It can cause acid reflux as well.
Oh,
and,
okay. And then struggle with that.
That's my biggest problem.
But I don't want to keep firing foods at you. But while I've got you here,
What about burgers?
Yeah, no. But Greek yogurt was something that I used to try and I kind of like. But when I went away and tried the real Greek yogurt, and I tried that with nuts in the morning, and it just really helps my digestion. About 9-10 o'clock, and that's it. But that for me,
So nuts will have a good fiber as well.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and the Greek yogurt will have the probiotics.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that you can call it like a symbiotic. 'Cause it's
Okay.
both.
Yeah. So
So
kind of
what, you was having that for breakfast, was you?
Yeah.
Okay, nuts and yogurt. Basically,
And a
there's
bit
a
of
rule
honey.
of thumb that I stuck to, and it was a case of, and I know you can go.
If it's
down.
not on toast, I'm not having it.
Well, when you go shopping in a supermarket, if you read the ingredients on the back, if
Yeah.
you don't know what that means and like a scientific word, so basically preservatives, additives,
That'll be
all-
everything. Then.
Well, it's hard, but if you can steer clear from them, you're doing all right. Am I right in saying that, or is
So
that
in
rubbish?
England, the full labels.
Have I just made that up?
no, you're right.
dream that.
It would list the main ingredients, the ones that are high in quantities at the top.
Yeah.
Right. So essentially, if there's more than 4 or 5 ingredients, then it's going to be like ultra processed, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And additives, emulsifiers, all things like that they keep the product together. For example,
It keeps them lasting longer, doesn't it?
Shelf,
Well,
shelf life.
that's going to make it harder to digest.
All of those things,
surely.
there is link with that, and ill
Yeah.
gut health. Let's put it that way. Not to scare people too much, but this quite
Yeah.
some good studies showing that this quite.
So just eating the carrot sticks from McDonald's is not the one.
I've got. There's a few things I want to get into with you.
Okay.
I have one more question I want to fight you.
Oh, okay.
let's go.
What are your views on intermittent fasting? I'm asking this because this is the only thing I've ever been able to sustain over a long period of time. You touched on it earlier. Why do something if you can't keep at it? I can keep at that one, but the books that I've read is all for it. But I know there are some people that aren't massively enthusiastic about fasting.
I first came across intermittent fasting in, I think it was 2006, something like that, from the Warrior Diet.
From where? The Royal
the
Diet?
Warrior Diet.
The warrior
Ah,
diet.
okay.
It's an Israeli doctor, Ori Offing, I forget his name, but it was a good book.
Okay.
And back then, it was like taboo in the gym. Like, man, you say somebody don't have breakfast, you're like, you're crazy.
Oh,
You're a
really?
fitness
Yeah.
professional. So I used to keep that to myself. Right?
That was a no-no.
And then, so I then tried to do the 16-8. So like done eating at 8 p.m. and then eat again like 1 p.m. type of thing. So
Yeah.
I think that like everything, for some people that might work really well, but not for everyone. Okay. So the reason why intermittent fasting, there's different ways of doing it, right? So you can have like a 16-8, okay? So don't eat for 16 hours, and then you can eat in the window of time of 8 hours. But then again, if you're doing that, you have to make sure that, because a lot of people, the mistake they do in intermittent fasting, then they try to, they overeat. They
What
think
about if
that-
you do it right? Because
Try
I've
and
read
pack it all in.
studies that if you get yourself into the starvation mode, your body can actually eat bad
So-
free radicals. It can get rid of illness.
Autophagy.
autophagy, yeah. And then there's
Is that
like
not true?
no, it is 6 and 8. Then you have like a 24, or people might even do like 72 hours fast,
Wow.
and it seems to be shown as to be very very efficient for like cancer treatments.
Yeah.
But then again, there's no
It's
talk
like your
about
body
that
going
because
into
that is
survival
completely-
mode, isn't it?
That might is you don't want to be throwing
Yes,
giving
yeah.
people ideas
we're
exactly.
speculating, yeah.
And it's been shown to be efficient for epilepsy, okay, as efficient as medications, and that is like more like ketogenic type of diet for epilepsy anyway.
Yeah.
Not completely fasted, but anyway. And but anyway, autophagy normally. So there's some people that say you should be fasting at least 15 hours to see some benefits, right? Others believe that needs to be a little bit longer than that. And anything that can cause an enzymatic reaction can then kick you out of that fast. So for example, some believe that like green tea, coffee might be okay.
Yeah.
Others, well, maybe not, because although there aren't any calories, because
I was going
the
to ask that.
body.
So is it just water?
That's
I
the
did
original.
it's
Yeah.
getting
So
better.
you can, the body can be fooled into thinking you're eating something if you drink coffee. Is that what you mean?
It's not so much that. It's not so much to do with the calories, but it's enzymes. You're going to activate some enzymes.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So I haven't heard anything bad about fasting yet. They're all good points. Where's the
So
bad points?
the bad point is that you can overdo it.
You're starving.
So I did it myself. Like I tried a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I started to do that 6 and 8, like I said, and I loved it, right?
Yeah.
And you can thrive on it. You can feel quite euphoric as well. Have a lot of energy, and I was training a lot. And then I'm thinking, well, once a week I'm gonna do 24-hour fast. And then of course, being an idiot, this time I was the idiot.
That's us.
I did it. I started to do pretty much every day, and I was doing CrossFit.
What, fasting every day?
Pretty much. So I was eating I was fasting 22, 23 hours every day, right?
But still having the energy to train
And I
as
was
well.
training, and I was
Right.
training, and I was pricking my sugar levels, and I'm looking, this is my sugar levels, and because actually you start to produce adrenaline, and adrenaline will liberate glucose. You actually have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You can have, right?
Yeah.
But because of all of that cortisol, and I was training hard, I got to a point where I really struggled to sleep, right? Because I was just like fired up all the time, right? And then one day, I'm walking down to the preschool to pick up my daughter, and man, I started to get palpitations, and I got really worried at that point. No, but anyway, I don't want to turn these things so long, but I got myself in a state of chronic stress because I just did too much exercise. So I turned a good thing that would have
Yeah.
been okay once a week
Yeah.
to do it every day.
You
and
took it to the
I
extreme.
just crushed my body.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I got palpitations, and it took me a good 6 months.
Wow.
But I started to eat right, do
Bring it back.
mindfulness, things like that to get back right.
So that's back. That's down to, as an individual, that just didn't work for you.
Yeah, but I took it to an extreme. So,
Yeah.
for example, intermittent fasting, it might not be good for for grown children, for
Yeah.
elderly, it might
Yeah.
not be that good, and it might not be good for people who are very, like the high flyers, very much adrenaline. Because then again, because when you're fasting, you might produce more cortisol, so that can be then
Do you think it's got a mental sort of benefit to it? I think as well, because if you don't eat, you become sort of a bit more mindfulness about your food.
Yeah,
And then
no,
a bit more
absolutely.
grateful as
Done
well.
right,
Yeah.
right is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So I still do it, but I do 16 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do a bit longer, but generally
And
speaking, 16
then
hours.
sort of watch your sort of body and train in, not to do too much things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting
yeah.
that you said your sleep suffered as well. So you was more awake, more wide, which is crazy because you're not putting anything in your body, yet your body finds something to make you more alert. So you're getting less sleep.
Well, I would have
That
eaten
can
at
have
night. I would have had dinner at night, but because my body was so much under stress from doing that every day and training hard,
It was always on
every day,
high alert sort of thing.
that I just got myself in a state of like chronic adrenal fatigue. So
Talking about sleep.
Yep.
So I really want to move on to this subject.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've done a lot on nutrition.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a subject that I know very little about, but I am interested in. And I know that it's something that really interests you. What makes you interested in sleep and how it affects our health? And what kind of impact does it have on our health if you're sleep deprived or you sleep too much?
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit about it.
So I think like a lot of things that we just talked about, sleep for a lot of people is the missing piece of the puzzle, right? You could argue that if you can get somebody to sleep well, you can fix the sleep, which is not easy to do.
Mm.
Then, especially when you're looking that in a way of weight loss, for some people that struggle with weight loss, a lot of time actually you can fix the sleep, believe it or not, it might actually
Can help to
them
aid
lose
weight loss. Yeah.
because one thing, don't forget that when you are sleep deprived, you're gonna put your body under stress, right? So I just talked about cortisol a second ago with fasting. So the body deals with stress always in the same way, which is whether it's financial stress, which is relationships, lack of sleep, whatever. You're gonna produce a lot of cortisol, right? And when you produce a lot of cortisol, that can then stimulate more fat storage around the waist. It can actually cause you also to lose muscle. And the sleep is really intriguing because it's been shown that if you sleep enough, you're gonna be mentally you're gonna be a little sharper. You're gonna be able to remove toxins also from from your brain. So for example, like risks of Alzheimer's have been shown to be decreased. How your body flushes toxins through the glands when you sweat.
But
actually, the body
is it-
can go through the same process, not sweating, but of regeneration of the brain, should we say? When you get enough deep sleep and REM sleep.
I was going to say, is it the longevity of sleep matter though as well? Because obviously people are going to listen to that and go, brilliant, I could do sleep easy.
Well,
You know what I mean?
what's the golden number?
Yeah, that's.
How many hours a night should we be
I know there's
sleeping?
going to be
8
variations.
to 9.
So I
That's
knew you were
my
going to ask me that. So from children from 6 to 12,
Oh wow.
9 to 12 hours.
Oh, okay.
So the children and teens need to sleep
Because of their brains
longer.
and-
So
yeah.
teenagers, so 13 to 18-year-old, 8 to 10 hours. Adults,
8 to 10 hours.
Yeah, I need
My
to record
stepdaughter's
that.
gonna love that.
Yeah,
Right? So,
well,
'cause
16
you know,
my daughter does, so she's a bit out, but not far off. She's nearly
That's 2
there.
in 1.
yeah.
adults from the age of 18 to 60, 7 or more, so ideally between 7 and 9, and the same from 65-year-old plus. The thing is, as we age, unfortunately, people tend to lose quality of sleep. So you find that deep sleep, especially, is not the same.
Right. This is my issue with this. So I'm an early morning person. My brain works better in the morning. There's
Yeah.
two types of people. There's actually a word for it, isn't there?
You got the owls and the larks.
Yeah, So some people are more active in the morning. Some
Yeah,
people are more night
lark,
owls.
yeah.
It's an evolutionary thing. When we lived in tribes, someone get up early to keep an eye on the
Really?
tribe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people stay up later, so the tribe was less vulnerable because
Yeah.
someone was mainly awake most of the
I'm
time.
in between now.
Rises and night watches.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so this is a natural thing. So I'm a morning person, right? So I like to get up early. Now, if I get to bed for 10 o'clock, I'll happily get up at 5 o'clock, and I know I'll feel okay. If I go to bed late, if I have a late night, so it's 11, half 11, midnight, my body will still naturally wake up at 5.
Yeah.
Now, that means I've only had 5 hours sleep. So if I then go, right, I've only had 5 hours sleep, I'm going to go back to sleep, and I stay in bed till 7 o'clock, I feel horrendous when I wake up.
Yeah, it doesn't work once
I
you woke
need
up.
to
So-
get out of bed. But
Because
then,
of-
again, but then technically I'm sleep deprived.
It's because of consistency. I listened. Is it Dr. Christopher Walker?
Oh,
Is he?
yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's a sleep guy. I listened to a podcast and he
Yeah, I
says
read his
more
book, yeah.
importantly is consistent. And also it's a myth that you can't catch up on sleep. So, if you go to bed later, you think you'd stay in bed a bit longer. It doesn't work like that. It's more about keeping to like you said, as an adult, 7 to 9 hours is the sweet spot.
The best thing is absolutely that. So one of the things I
Sleep
always advise to
apps.
people is try to go to bed and wake up at the same time,
Yeah.
if you can,
Yeah.
right? And the point with what you're saying, Joe, is this, right? If you, for example, let's say that you normally go to bed at, let's say 10 p.m. and you wake up at 5 a.m. Sorry, so that'll be 7 hours in bed, right? So first of all, if you are in bed for 7 hours, you're not sleeping 7 hours. The most you'll be sleeping, and that if you're a good sleeper, you'll sleep 6. So people would say to me, I'll sleep 8 hours. What time do you go to bed? 11, wake up at 7. No, you're not. But you're going to sleep now 6.5, 7 at the most.
Yeah.
Right?
What you should say is what time do you fall asleep and what time
That's
do you wake
right.
up?
That's right.
Yeah.
The one thing though is if let's say that Joe does that though, 10 p.m., 5 a.m., right? And then for whatever reason, he's going out and he goes to bed at 11:30 that night, p.m. Right?
Oh, big
Okay.
night, Joe.
Yeah, big night.
Wild.
So what will happen is, unfortunately, that he's gonna miss deep sleep because deep sleep normally
That's the first state of sleep, isn't it?
you got let's say the 3 main stages. You got a light sleep,
Right. Light
And
sleep.
so usually it should take you between 7 to 10 minutes to fall asleep. Sometimes you hear the expression, oh, my husband, he puts his head on the pillow and he falls asleep. That's not really good, because if you fall asleep immediately, research shows that actually you're far too tired. So it should take you
Right.
about 7 to 10 minutes. Then you go into deep sleep, okay? And deep sleep is the restorative sleep. So that's when the body heals. So especially if you're fighting
That's
a
important,
cold inflammation, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Growth hormone is released, etc. And then you got REM. And also the deep sleep is when your memory consolidates as well. So everything that you learned that day that the body feels that is relevant,
Yeah.
So if you got an exam, for example, whatever, or you're studying and you're not sleeping well, then you're not going to absorb, or you're not going to retain as much information. And then you got the REM phase, which is where you dream, right?
Which stands for
A rapid eye movement. Yeah.
Yeah, that
It's
might- yeah,
it's not
Is that the end?
it's not a music band. It's not.
Of the 3 stages, that's the third one, right? So
That's
it's
right.
at the end phase.
That's right. Yeah.
I always see that as it's called rapid eye movement because while your eyes are closed, your eyes
Yeah,
are doing that vertically, aren't they? I always envisage, them old school printers where they, if you lifted them up to feel the ink and they're writing a picture. I feel like that's what you're doing in your brain. Like your eyes are painting a picture.
And then the body's paralyzed, so you're not actually acting the dreams.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway,
It does that for safety, doesn't it?
yeah. I mean, I don't want to
paralyzed.
go too much in details, but there has been incidents where people actually gone out and committed, crimes,
Sleepwalking.
sleepwalking.
Yeah.
But anyway, some people they might say there's 4 stages: awake, light sleep, deep sleep, and REM. Because you just asked about, so there's 3 or 4 phases.
Yeah.
Anyway. And normally you want to go through at least 5 cycles, if not like 7 per night.
Throughout the night.
For the nights. And what you find that deep sleep normally occurs earlier on. So that's why if you go to bed late, you're never going to catch up with the deep sleep.
Yeah.
And then REM sleep, that's why you tend to remember the dreams more when you wake up. It tends to occur early hours of the morning. So just before you wake up, should we say.
Wow. Okay.
So no more watching Anton Deck
So-
in the jungle.
Is there if somebody goes to bed at 9 p.m. and has 7 hours sleep, and somebody else goes at 11 p.m. but still has 7 hours sleep, is the 9 p.m. person better off? Does it
For me,
matter?
yeah. For me, yeah.
Why? Why is that?
Because you're gonna have better chance of getting into that deep sleep.
Into the deep sleep.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the thing. So the cycles last about 90 minutes, but then as you go more like late into the night, you say early in mornings, those cycles get reduced. So for example, if you measure your sleep with an Oura ring or anything like that, you'll see that the deep sleep normally occurs earlier on. And I know for myself because I've checked out also with the Oura ring, and I know if I go to bed late, I'm not getting deep sleep. If I on a good night, let's say I get 90 minutes of of deep sleep and 90 minutes of REM sleep, because most of the sleep is gonna be light, yeah. Because then you're awake through the night. You go through the cycle, and you light sleep. You sometimes a little bit awake, and then you fall back asleep, etc. And yeah, and that's it. And
Is one better than the other, David?
what is they're all important.
So REM, it's REM sleep and deep sleep.
I think they're both equally. I'm
You've
not
got to get them
really
both,
sure
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
But what I find, for example, sometimes I need to wake up early as well for work, and I sometimes feel I miss the REM sleep. So if I have to wake up at 5, but if I wake up at 6, for example, half 6 even,
Yeah.
I feel I can get more of that
that
REM
extra
sleep.
hour gets you that, and people do.
I feel
I
that.
feel that. Yeah, you
I
feel like
that,
you do.
and because I track it, I know.
Yeah,
it
you
as
know
well.
that
I can
anyway,
see
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So what role does caffeine play in sleep? And so there's so much information out there. Some people say coffee is good for you. People advocate to drink coffee. Obviously, one of the big ones. Everyone's tolerance is different.
I'm going to say the same thing. Depends.
Individual.
Depends.
David,
on who.
I'll tell you.
You have an
now.
espresso
Yeah.
I
for bed.
I can drink an espresso
Yeah.
and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Where some people, if they drink an
Yeah.
espresso,
If
they'll-
I have a half a Nescafe at 8:30 in the morning, I'm up panicking.
It
at 1.
depends how
Yeah,
quickly
so-
you're simulated, basically.
Right.
So caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours. That's why, generally speaking, it might be 8 for some, or it might be 2 for others, right?
Okay.
That's why, for general consensus is stop drinking caffeine at 2 p.m.
Even if you can get to sleep.
Yeah,
afterwards,
because the sleep quality.
because your
being
quality of
affected.
sleep's
Yeah.
still affected,
Yeah.
as opposed to being able to fall.
Yeah,
Oh,
so that
yeah,
coffee
but-
that I've just had basically is going to fuck
No,
me up
but
tonight.
but you're right.
Yeah, you can't counteract that now.
In Italy, people have espresso, like,
Yeah.
11 p.m.
Yeah.
and easy, midnight, and,
Yeah.
and they go to bed. But, not everybody. I have, I can't really, to be honest, unless I'm really, really tired. But,
Yeah. But it's definitely affecting my sleep.
well, it can.
The quality of it.
It's very much individual. I mean, caffeine has a lot of, important nutrients, a lot of antioxidants, has been shown to
Just
be,
be
very
Italian, man. You
healthy.
drink it. Be Italian, drink it, go to bed.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. A culture thing, English,
Yeah.
drink it and worry about it the next day. It's the difference.
Yeah, no.
Be Italian like me.
Is it true that sleep deprivation can affect your eating behaviors?
Yeah, massively. Yeah. So, studies quite clearly show. I got a couple of notes actually just to make sure I got the right stats. But so, people who only slept 5 hours, for example, right? So let's say the average was 7, and they only sleep in 5 hours. That's been shown to alter the appetite regulation. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. By increasing ghrelin by 28%, decreasing leptin by 18%, and actually increasing total calorie intake by 22%. So ghrelin, first of all, is a hormone that is secreted in the stomach, and that stimulates hunger.
What was that hormone?
Ghrelin.
called?
Ghrelin.
Okay.
Yeah, not gremlin.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
You can fit, yeah.
Yeah. For Luke. Everybody picks on Luke.
That's
But,
right.
no, so it's GHR. And then leptin is a satiety hormone, which signals the body to stop eating and received enough food.
Right.
So you see how by impairing somebody's sleep, okay, they're going to be eating more because they got more appetite.
Mm.
And they're going to be overeating because the appetite regulation
He's not
is
telling them when to
inhibited.
start.
It's
yeah.
super
Right.
important for diet then.
And it's a bit like when you're drunk, you're also going to be inhibition, it's going to be a little bit, you're going to be,
You can have a kebab on you next to the bed.
well,
as
you're not going to, you're going to have more craving for, for fat and sugar, first
Yeah.
of all. And also you're not going to be thinking logically,
Yeah.
right? So, there's, a couple of things. Yeah. So, yeah, the other thing I was looked at as well. So, for example, sleep deprived individuals tend to want to eat 30% more carbohydrates as well and more sugar, just because they're craving sugar.
So when people wake up, because obviously when you have alcohol, you wake up in the morning and you want a full fat breakfast or something like
Yeah,
that.
you're all
That's your
hungry, aren't you?
Yeah, that's your body
craving
basically
crappy
craving. Yeah.
And also, and also the other problem with that is in relation to weight loss and disease in general, is that you lose insulin sensitivity when you are sleep deprived. So what that means is that you're almost like a pre-diabetic the next day, right?
Wow.
You're not diabetic, but
Yeah.
you're like. So what that means is that when you're eating foods, especially carbohydrates, so we said you want to eat 30% more carbohydrates on these studies, but the body is not actually absorbing them efficiently. So when you eat carbohydrates, so that can be anything from like bread, pasta, or even like smoothie, anything like that contains sugar, essentially. The body produces insulin in response, and the insulin brings the sugar levels back down because high levels of sugar in the blood is toxic, right? So the body needs to lower them, and it delivers the nutrients when they're required in the muscle, in the liver, okay, and whatever's left over in the fats. But when you're sleep deprived, that insulin sensitivity gets inhibited. So you're going to be storing more of those nutrients actually in your fat cells and less in the muscle.
Wow. Sleep's a massive player in
So,
the well-being
so
game.
when you think about that, you got
massive.
greater appetites.
Yeah.
You don't stop eating.
I heard
and-
as well it can affect mood. So I don't know whether it's REM sleep or deep sleep, but less of one of them two can make you less empathetic.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
for example, relationships,
Absolutely.
if you or your partner's struggling with sleep, that can be the
Oh, that was going to
reason
put a
for
big strain.
arguments.
That's a massive reason.
Decision making as well. So
Decision making,
a lot of
yeah.
people that work in, for example, like in the city, banking,
Yeah.
investments, they're going out, they're drinking, they're not sleeping on
Well,
that
they,
much.
did, they did some
Yeah.
studies on pilots for that reason.
Really?
Yeah, because obviously a sleep deprived pilot is not going to make great choices.
Wow.
There was Salvador Dali, the artist. Salvador Dali and
Yeah.
Thomas Edison. Both of them, the stories, they're both creative people. Like one's an inventor, one's an artist. And what they both did with the habit was they'd sit in a chair with a big silver spoon, and then they'd close their eyes, and when the spoon dropped, it'd wake them up.
Ah, yeah, heard about that. Yeah.
And they claimed that made them more creative, and they would keep working through the night, keep working. just
What,
have
when
power
they
naps.
didn't have sleep?
Yeah, so just have power naps just to
Right.
recharge their brain. And Thomas Edison would keep working on his inventions, and he claimed the silver spoon hit the concrete floor and would wake him up like. Do you think these are just made up
but they
stories?
also had
Are
lead
these
in paint.
exceptional people?
Yeah, but what I'm
Sorry?
saying is there was clever people in a time when lots of crazy things went on, wasn't they?
Well, Edison invented the telephone and the light bulb.
No, he did, but he also cleaned his teeth with probably cocaine. You know what I mean? There's swings and roundabouts to what was good and bad.
What's
in
the
those days.
advantages of that? They make you-
But talking about the light bulb,
tell you.
but before that, people used to sleep a lot more. And, go back into
Great
1940s,
point.
1950s,
Yes.
people used to sleep 12 hours a night.
Oh, really?
So
Less
now,
light.
because of all this technology,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to stay awake. I fight for my sleep.
Yeah.
When it's time for me to go to bed, I go to bed. I'm not staying up watching TV or
Yeah.
whatever. So
What's your typical bedtime, David?
I go to bed at about 9:15.
And is that consistently all the time?
Yeah.
What time do you wake up?
About 5:15.
With an alarm or naturally?
No, naturally.
Oh, wow.
Naturally.
That's
Wow.
cool. You knew that was going to happen. He just
That's
wakes up.
impressive.
I have an alarm just in case, especially if I have to be at work.
Yeah,
but
but generally.
If I go to bed on time, I wake up naturally. If I don't go to bed on time, or if I'm half an hour late or an hour late, I won't. I need.
I love a siesta, though. I love a little siesta.
I used
So
to.
Well,
I normally
that's
like to wake up
healthy.
in the morning.
Mhm.
I'll have a espresso, glass of water, and then I'll do a fasted walk. So like empty stomach.
Mm.
Sunlight's a big thing for your body in
especially
the morning.
like now. And that's one way to reset your circadian rhythm. So one way actually to optimize your sleep is start in the morning.
Stop. I was going to ask you, what is your circadian rhythm?
Yeah. So that it basically is your biological clock, which runs in 24 hours. But for some people, it might be longer.
Slightly more.
And that's why some people have a faster clock and a slower clock. So we're talking about larks and owls. So
Right.
some people, that's why they tend to find it hard to wake up early in the morning and they want to stay up late.
How would you
And
find that out? Is it just by trial and error, or is it because some people go, I don't want to get up in the morning for a work, but
Oh, they're just being lazy.
yeah, well, no, yeah,
Well,
basically
They're just dossers.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I think that if you're that type of person, and if there's a
You're
way
gonna
that you
know
can
that.
convince your
Yeah.
boss to
Yeah.
start a little bit later,
that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah,
it might be
could
more
help, wouldn't it?
more proactive. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, sleeping work and sleeping, because it's that important, production wise, for any human beings, to get sleep in a correct way would be better.
Like for teenagers, for example, right? 'Cause teenagers need sleep, and teenagers find it hard to go to bed early,
Yes.
right? So in America, they tried in a couple of schools in some states where they actually studied school. I can't remember if it was like from, let's say, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. and the grades improved massively just because they got that little bit, that
think
extra
that
45 minutes.
In Japan, they trialed in an office. They have the chairs, and they all slept throughout the day, and had a little break, and they were more productive and happier.
Well,
Yeah.
interestingly, in 17th century England, the craze was they would sleep for 4 hours twice over 24 hours, and they learnt that apparently from ancestral, the more primitive times when that was a normal thing to do. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, apparently that's what they used to do.
Yeah.
Back
And
then.
also, it could be the fact that they get eaten by tigers. They're gonna, or whatever the dangers were. They probably
Because
sleep in wood
once the lights were, once there was sunset, people would go to sleep, but then they would wake up,
with the sun, yeah.
congregate, whatever. Sorry, and then
And then go back to sleep
Yeah,
again later
absolutely,
on.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Is it true your body temperature drops? as
So
well when you
that's what one. If you wanna,
So it's easier to sleep in a
if you
cold
talk
room than
about-
it is a hot one.
I know we
basically.
spoke a lot, but if you wanna give some practical applications for people, sleep hygiene is a big thing.
Yeah.
Right. So for example, before you go to bed, at least an hour before, you try to dim the lights, try to stay away from light screens, things like that.
Yeah.
Is blue light a real thing?
Yeah, well, for me it works. I've been having blue light blockers for a long time, and for me to work. My wife, she's not bothered.
When you say blue light blockers, do you mean glasses?
glasses, yeah. But nowadays you can get apps also on
your phone.
screens and
Yeah, yeah.
they block that. And then the important thing is try and do something relaxing like mindfulness, things like that. And then the way the body works, actually, your body temperature will drop when you go to bed.
Yeah.
So if you cool yourself down before you go to sleep, because then actually when you rise in the morning, the body temperature starts to rise, and that's what wakes you up.
Right.
So even your body, even
You're
your bedroom
naturally
should be,
waking up.
your room, your bedroom
It's
should
like
be
the sun rising, it starts getting hot, doesn't
That's
it? Your
right.
body's just preparing yourself.
it should be the coolest room in the house,
Okay.
Yeah.
right?
Because I would say my nan's nearly 90, and her room, she used to have every window open. It was freezing. But I've got
Cozy,
used
though.
to, but I've got
Cozy.
used to sleeping like that, and
It's
I
a
can't
better.
sleep in a cold room.
Yeah, I see.
in a
It's
warm
sleep
room.
a lot
So
better
yeah, it
with
has
that,
to be
yeah.
cold.
Yeah.
But I'd never really understood why. It
Yeah.
just seems better. I wake up better and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that's the
Yeah.
reason. Yeah, cool.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. So,
And don't eat large meals before going to bed. First of all, for
Oh,
the
that's another-
acid reflux that we said. And then again, if you eat in large meals before you go to bed, because of digestion, your body temperature will also heat up.
Oh.
and that's not good for
and
sleep.
that's not good for sleep
So you're
either.
not getting as good quality
That's
sleep.
right.
So how long before you go to sleep should you eat?
Big question. I think at least 3 hours before, ideally.
3 hours.
I mean,
Ooh.
you might have like a little snack, like a natural yogurt or so, but a little cup. But if you're talking like a proper meal, about 3 hours before, yeah, absolutely.
Melatonin. What role does some people take melatonin as a supplement to help go to sleep? I know our body produces that naturally. That's
Yeah.
got something to do with the daylight, hasn't it? Or
So
what,
basically, like the sleep cycle, like I said, you wake up in the morning. That's why it's important to get out first thing in the morning, especially when it's light outside. Get some sun in your skin if you can. And like in Scandinavia, when it's dark a lot, but even in England, when it's dark a lot in the winter, people can use those lights. Just have a bit more natural light. But basically, when you see that light through your eyes, it goes through the pineal gland in the brain. And so you got the super charismatic nucleus that actually stimulates the pineal gland in the brain that then produces melatonin. Okay? So if you're up watching TV late at night, what's happening is the body sees that, still perceives that as being, daylight,
Oh wow.
and produce
Great
enough
set.
melatonin.
Artificial day.
That's why.
So it's like your natural biology clock
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah. So you start in the morning, actually, you wake up, you go out, you get fresh air, the body knows it's day.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, so if you go camping, for example,
Yeah.
and you're not staring your phone, anything like that, you're there with a campfire, the sun goes down, you're going to be naturally start to yawn, right?
Yeah.
As the sun goes down. Melatonin, so the body produces naturally, right? So it's a hormone. So you normally produce it at night when you go to bed. So you start to produce it as, during sunset and then more into the night. I think it peaks around 3 a.m. And you can take it as a supplement. Now in Europe, so if you go to Italy, for example, you can buy it easily in a pharmacy, right? And normally you get it like 1 milligram, but people can take up to like 5 milligrams. So, 2 or 3 tablets even. And if you're going to do that, you're going to take that maybe just before you go to bed. Or even if you go to bed and you're one of those people that wakes up to go to the toilet, whatever, then take it again, or take it then. Then it's gonna peak, whilst you sleep. But like everything, if you're taking too much of it, because you also producing it yourself, but if you take it endogenously, so outside as a tablet, there could be
Problems.
the fact that you might not produce it as much yourself, or the body starts to become, a little bit
Well,
resistant.
it's
Dependent.
like anything. If
Yeah.
you took too much testosterone, that's a problem, isn't
I
it?
know,
So
I
if
read
you-
that.
I think I looked at the study. It said that an Australian study is taking it for like 13 weeks is safe, but after that, then you don't have any effects. So
Yeah.
it's like a lot of things.
You just become immune.
I think it's good to take it
build
for a
up a
while
tolerance,
and then not to take them for
Give it a
bits.
rest, give it in
That's right.
cycles.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So in a nutshell, David, for those listening and wanting to kind of like, if they're listening to this and thinking, right, you know what, I'm start taking care of my sleep routine. What are the key things in summary then that we should all be doing?
Yeah, go outside in the morning, get some fresh light, do some exercise. Not too much exercise late at night.
Not
if-
Ironman
if you-
triathlons.
If you only got the opportunity to train late in the evening, then make it something that is not going to be too high intensity, because remember that is also
wake you up.
going to stimulate cortisol. So a lot of
Yeah.
people
Oh.
go to the gym late at night and they say, I can't fall back
I used
asleep.
to do CrossFit late at night. And
Yeah,
I
exactly,
could not
because you
sleep.
got too much cortisol. So if you're doing exercise in the evening, be a walk, yoga, a swim, something like that. So if you can, do the more vigorous exercise earlier on in the day, right? Don't eat late at night, cool room temperature, and also, get rid of any electronics in your bedroom. Bedroom should be for 2 things: time with the loved ones,
Sleeping in sexy
And-
times.
and sleep, and that's it.
That
'Cause
helps
otherwise,
sleep.
the body was associated with different
Apparently,
things.
that does help sleep, doesn't it? Sex. There's been some studies to suggest. In fact, I heard on that Christopher Walken podcast that some people use masturbation as a tool for sleep.
I think a lot of people do.
which is a positive thing. I mean, obviously, people
Is
talk
it?
about, people talk about porn addiction, but if you're using it and it helps you get to sleep and you're improving the quality of your sleep, you're going to improve the
It
quality
is-
of
Well,
your
if you
life.
sleep on a train.
Listen, this is me personally. This is you sleep on a train, right? I say. Yeah, don't
You
sleep
just
on a
said that's
train.
me personally. Sam.
No, I said this isn't me personally.
We all know what
Right.
Ben does on trains.
No, but I think that if you look at studies, that to be more applicable for men. For some women, it doesn't really work that way.
Right.
Women tend to be more stimulated after, like more awake.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And the one thing with that is, I think that the benefits is more when you're with someone as well, because then the body produces more oxytocin,
Yeah.
which you don't get, if you're by yourself. But
So stop doing it on your own, Ben. There's
So
no
what-
excuse for it.
So
Listen,
what
it's data that supports it. Helps you sleep.
Whatever makes
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
I love
Whatever
it. Everyone's
justifies
just
it,
picturing me in my bed on my own now.
You just
There we are
mentioned
now.
oxytocin. What impact does that have on us on sleep?
I think it's just like a feel good.
Yeah,
like, absolutely. Yeah. So it just makes you more relaxed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't that the hormone that gets released when you hug people and
That's
make
right.
you feel love?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a bit of a hug before bed.
That's right. Why not?
Yeah, a bit of a hug, Ben.
With someone else.
Depends what level you want to go to. Depends how much of a good sleep you want.
I'm locking the door the next time we're on a holiday.
Ben's sleep routine.
David, you're very knowledgeable on all
Amazing.
this.
Really,
very
yeah.
passionate about it.
Thank you.
Great speaker when it comes to all this stuff. Like, what's the future for you? Where do you want to take all this?
I'm not sure at the moment, to be honest with you. I'm more into longevity of all things. So when I see people,
We tend to get into that as we get older, don't we?
when I see people like in this, like I've got a friend of mine, and I'm a lifelong surfer, right? So I've been surfing since the 90s. And one guy I go surfing with, he's 74. And I see him and he's 74. And surfing is hard.
Yeah,
Right? And he's
very
surfing
hard.
also on
Never
the
done it.
showboard.
Physical.
I can imagine.
He rock climbs, he plays in a band, he ice skates.
Full of life.
So when I see people like that, or I've seen people in the gym in the 80s that can still do handstands, and that's for me what I want to do, and I want to help people as much as they can to age.
A lot of old, famous people's best works have been past 60.
I'll tell you one thing about we were saying in the opening, phases. When I first started to train, I was like really skinny, and I used to play football, and I was always like one of the slower ones, and now because I've trained all these years, when I go back home to Italy, I mean,
Piss
I don't
all
want to say,
over
but
him.
I'm like I feel I'm so
Go
much.
beat your mates up.
You
So much above-
have just gone like
And the
that
thing is,
compared to your
the
mates.
one thing, if you keep a certain lifestyle,
Yeah.
where you exercise and you diet, because I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't take time off.
That's
I
the
I like-
key,
I
isn't it?
enjoy things. I go on holiday,
Consistency,
whatever.
Discipline.
But I'm always doing it, right?
Yeah.
Because I love it,
Yeah.
right? Because I love it. And the more you do that, the more you distance yourself from your peers, because unfortunately they're gonna just age a lot faster than you.
Yeah.
And so that's it.
So
You
keep
bet-
doing it, is what you said.
Yeah.
Go back
Yeah.
and throw
Do
it
it
in
while
your
you
peers'
can.
faces.
And then
So stop drinking and wanking, Ben.
it's exercising.
Get some sleep. Get some sleep, you dirty bugger.
What are you on about? I'm 68 now.
Looking good for 68.
Cheers.
David, for anybody listening, and if they want to contact you or they want to hear more from you, is there anywhere they can find you? Are you on social media?
Yeah. I forget that. Yeah, it's David Menzano, Fitness and Nutrition. Maybe you can share the link.
Yeah, we will share
Maybe
that,
we can.
definitely.
Maybe we can.
It was amazing. Really, really.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not selling anything online or anything like that. I can.
Yet.
Just,
Yet.
I'm
Don't-
happy to
don't- yeah.
advise people.
I could see you with some sauce.
Some
Fitness
supplements.
sauce.
I should.
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah, definitely. Don't
Yeah.
count that out.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much
Yeah,
for coming
thank
on.
you.
It's
Pleasure's
been an
mine.
absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
loved it. Me too.
I feel like I've learned a lot as well.
I want to go sleep.
Ben, if you want to go in there, mate, for
Yeah,
your
yeah.
to
I'll
see
see
what
you
you
in a
want to do.
Before you know.
Well,
I was
actually,
gonna
I
say
didn't,
knock
we, didn't,
off, but-
we didn't even talk all that much about sleep. There's so much
Yeah,
more.
we
but
can. I tell you
well,
what, there's
so
more
much,
in
yeah.
that to come back. Definitely.
I said
if you
there's so
would.
many
I
more
think-
things.
Can I be honest with you? I had 16 ideas for questions, and we didn't even get through half of them.
Yeah, there's too much.
So
you
there's
could,
so
come on.
much.
Yeah.
So we would love to have you on.
Because
again.
with every question, there's so many avenues.
Yeah, and it's fascinating
There's
as well.
so many things they can discuss. That's why.
Good stuff. And if anybody if anybody out there enjoyed that, please take the time to like and subscribe.
Yes.
We
Like
said
and
it
subscribe.
for the first time.
Well done,
Some
Jack.
of the feedback we keep getting on this is like, you never tell anyone to like and subscribe.
That's
Like,
it.
we're
Thumbs up.
painfully
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
at doing that. So please
And leave a comment.
like and leave a comment. Thanks, Dave. We went crap at this.
Yeah.
Dave, you just look into the camera and just tell everyone to like and subscribe. And
Thumbs up, guys.
Perfect. Thanks, David.
cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
thank you.